Hello everybody and welcome back to another race day. How are you doing today? Here we are in Portugal, I believe for the first time within our league. And we are packed today. I believe we actually have everyone. It's nuts really. But just very quickly, I do want to welcome Carl back to the series. Of course, going to be our FIA for the series. So he is going to not hold back on the drivers. They cause an accident, that's a penalty for him. He's in charge now, no longer me. So it's all down to him now, which I'm really going to enjoy, in fact. But here we are, of course, in Portugal, and I can't do this alone. We do have today Peter, once again, back on commentary.
Yes, hi guys, welcome to be back once again.
And we also do have Bailey on commentary as well.
Hi guys.
Now, boys, Portugal, a very difficult track. You know, you can spin out a lot. What are you guys expecting from today? I mean, are you expecting a lot of DNFs? Are you expecting a good race? What do you think is going to come from today?
Well, obviously this being a new track and all for the cars, so obviously the cars will react a lot differently. Your settings will be a lot different compared to last year. I don't think we ever did this trick last year. If not, then this will be a first time for everybody in this league racing on this track. Obviously, a few tricky sections, especially through Sector 2. You want to keep it nice and clean through there, as it can be quite a bumpy ride, and making sure that your car is nice and sucked down on the ground to produce that downforce that you need through the section to gain your lap time.
Fair enough. What about you, Bailey? Anything you're expecting from today?
Yeah, no, as you mentioned, we have everyone in the race, so that's definitely going to add something to the race, add a little bit of flair, as it always does. But, you know, it should be a very good race, as it always is in this league, and I'm very excited for it.
Well, that's what we like to hear. But I'm hoping for a good race. Who do you think is going to get on pole today? Because what we have right now is a 5-way championship battle, and I'm going to get the table up right now. But who will Preston maybe benefit a lot from this race? Catch up to Charlie. Will Charlie get more points to get away from Preston? Will any of the other three come back into it? Who do you think is going to benefit from this race today?
Well, I mean, everyone can benefit from any race, to be honest with you. It depends what happens and what kind of scenarios are thrown at them during the race. It could be that rain starts to fall halfway through the race, and then they have to transition from slicks to inters, or fully wet, should I say. To be honest, I wouldn't say there's a lot to benefit, because obviously there's not much. I would say there's not much you can really benefit unless everyone, like your championship rivals, are always consistently scoring points. So yes, it would be nice to see Preston get a win and maybe bring this championship gap down a little bit more, and start to slowly cut this gap bit by bit and race by race. Obviously, if Charlie wins today, it will help him massively, and if Preston DNFs, it will really bring that championship gap back up. So put quite a bit of a margin between those two. Just remember, though, we still have Harry and Jamie in this championship fight. They're not far behind. I mean, I wouldn't say they're far behind, but, you know, there's still quite a bit between them lot and Charlie. So, yeah, they'll have to work a lot harder as well to get this championship down.
Fair enough. What about you, Bailey? Is anyone in your eyes going to really boost from today, if you get what I mean? I don't know how to put it, to be honest.
I mean, one person that wasn't mentioned in that conversation just is George. He is falling behind a little bit, but I reckon this could be a race for him to push through, and it's definitely what he needs if he wants to be contending in this second half of the season. Of course, last at the moment in qualifying, but with this time as it goes on, I could definitely see him pushing towards the top. But as everyone knows, I can't give enough praise to Preston, and I reckon this could be a massive race for him, and I reckon it will be, with him coming out on top personally.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And now, go on, Peter, sorry.
I was just going to say, yeah, I totally agree with that.
But as we can see, I now have the championship table up. I don't know if you guys are already on it or not, but it really is coming closer together, isn't it? I mean, you know, obviously Bradley maybe not going to be able to come back into it, but we're not going to rule him out so far. Callum, a late starter, could maybe come into it, got that P2 in Mexico. I think he could possibly have a chance there. Who knows? But what you have currently is a 5-way championship fight, as we did mention. And Preston is gaining on Charlie very much. So it's gonna get very much more interesting as we get further into season. And we are halfway into it now. So we've got a lot more to go. So whether we'll see who. Actually, that's the question I'm going to ask. Who do you think, if anyone, who will have this wrapped up by Abu, if anyone, or do you think it will go down to the wire?
Well, you know, between Preston and Charlie, those two have been at it all season. Both been getting wins, both been consistent to get podiums every race. Charlie has puts in amazing performances as well, don't get me wrong, you know. Even when things are not looking like they're going his way, he still somehow finds his way to get himself back at the top step or somewhere on those top podium slots. But yeah, obviously, Preston and Charlie have been going at it all season, and especially Preston being like joining a little bit later than usual. You know, he hasn't scored races in points in. He hasn't scored points in for like 5 different races, if I'm wrong. I might be a little bit off of that, but you know, it's around that estimated area that he hasn't scored as many points as Charlie. But Charlie hasn't scored points in 2 races, and that was in Spain and Imola, where he was unfortunate enough to, unfortunately, had his collisions, and in Imola came, touched with his championship rival at the time, which was George.
Harry spun!
Who has? Oh. Is that Harry? Yeah, it is Harry. Luckily, it doesn't look like he's got any damage on his car from what I can see. If he does, it might be some side pod or maybe underfloor damage that he might have got. But by the looks of things, he might have scathed that very luckily. He did.
Fair enough. Bailey, any thoughts?
I mean, as Peter mentioned, it's been, especially in the latter stage of this first half of the season, it's been all Charlie and Preston. And with Preston missing those races early on, I reckon that could be what takes it down to the wire. And it will definitely be an interesting battle between them two and any others if they come through and try and get anything out of this race. As you mentioned, Callum coming into it late, but he's slowly climbing up. A bit of a dark horse, some might say. But yeah, anyone could take it, and down to Abu will be the crucial factor.
Fair enough. I like your answers, boys. For once, I like your answers. But we have got 9 minutes and 43 seconds left of qualifying, and Preston spun as well. Everyone's spinning today. This really is not good.
Fun for a second time as well, but it was only brief, and he's able to carry on.
Yeah, and this is your current rundown, people. You have Charlie on top with a 118.597, Jamie coming in P2 with a 118.879, Bradley in P3 with a 118.944, Preston coming in with P4 with a 118.952, only separated by that's even 0.008 of a second between Preston and Bradley. That's mental. And then Callum coming in at P5 with a 119.465. Then George with a 120.136. That's your top 6. And then sadly, because Harry spun out, he's down currently in P19 with a 128.786. But I'm sure he will improve as time goes on. But it's definitely going to be an interesting one, that is for sure. Well, I mean, we talked about the guys. Are you expecting any major battles within this race? Are we expecting anyone to maybe fall off, being from the top? Are we expecting anyone to, DNF? Obviously, that's not what we're hoping for. But are you expecting anything bad to happen in this race, to be honest?
I'm going to expect maybe one safety car and a couple retirements. Whether who that might be, Bradley, George or Callum, who knows? We know George has been known to make his mistakes throughout the races, but has come back to, despite having those unlucky performances earlier on in the races, I reckon George might be focused on that he might make a mistake. Callum as well, you know, he's been very lucky at times as well with performances spinning out in Austria that cost him, I'm pretty sure that cost him points as well and a P4 position. And again in Hungary for him, in the top 4, spins out and then, I think doesn't score any points in Hungary. So, you know, Callum gets very unlucky and Bradley as well, you know. I saw at the start of the season, he walked in as a new driver to this league and then was challenging Carl for the race lead. And then, very unfortunately, sorry, Carl, to mention this, but something bad happened. We still to this day do not know what happened. And Bradley took the lead and took under safety car, the lead of the safety car. And talking about Bradley, he has just spun into turns 2. So, and he was on a flying lap as well. That was very unlucky for Bradley.
And I believe someone else did spin, and that is the Alfa Romeo driver of George. So again, everyone is spinning out. It's a very unlucky track, to be honest. But as you can see, Bradley a minute ago did take that P2, but now Preston has come back and taken that P2 position. So this is going to possibly be a front row of the top 2 championship contenders. This could be an interesting start to race. Hopefully, not a dangerous one though.
Yeah, I mean, you know, these two, especially Charlie and Preston, they race well together. I don't think they've had too many incidents together, and if they have, I can't remember if they have or not, but if they haven't, then it just goes to show that those two have respect for each other, leave room when they can, and obviously, they don't like to be near each other, and especially when they get in front, they tend to pull a gap away. And it's quite a big one, and then it's normally the other driver trying to follow behind.
Fair enough. Bailey, I did forget to ask you. I'm very, very sorry. Are you expecting anything bad to happen this race? Not that we again want it, but anything at all? Maybe safety cars or anything?
I mean, it's still very early to tell, but some drivers haven't looked as confident on this track. I mean, we've mentioned multiple times that Harry has spun. But of course, it's not led to anything major. But it's got to be a pointer towards anything that could carry on and become a trend in this race. Of course, you mentioned Georgia spun as well. So anything could happen throughout this race.
Can we just appreciate Harry just got that purple sector 2, maybe on an absolute flyer of a lap, gone a bit wide there. Track limits is definitely going to be going after him, but hopefully not too bad at all. But here we go, down to the final line. What is Harry going to get? That's P6.
Yeah, so good to see that he's got off the bottom row now and up into the top 10. George is the next person to cross the line. Let's see what he can do. And it's George. He can improve, but puts him in P7, and it's only improved by 7/10 of a second. So, doesn't look like he's moved up any positions, but he has actually gained lap time from a 120 down to a 119.3. So that's good to see that George has finally put in a good lap time and is now in the 119s.
And can we just appreciate George and Harry currently separated, correct me if I'm wrong here, by 0.04 of a second. I mean, it's just so close, isn't it? Even on a game, these drivers can get close in the times they have. I mean, you saw in Azerbaijan, Preston and Charlie crossing the line at the exact same time, basically separated, I believe, by at least 0.003 of a second. It's just mental, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. It can be quite crazy at times, and the times, and I mean, like in real life, every second, every second counts. Time counts in this, and even like the minor mistake, you still will lose a lot. Like, it might not be a lot, but to an F1 driver, that is a lot of lap time that could be lost in a single mistake. If Bailey can agree with that.
I mean, yeah, 100%. Any mistake can be crucial, especially with the talent all these drivers can hold and come out with in an individual race. Any mistake, especially at the top end, will come crucial to any result.
But yeah, I mean, we talk about the top end right now, and I mentioned it earlier. Preston and Charlie currently really close in the championship, and you talk about mistakes. If one of them was to make a mistake, let's say Charlie was to make a mistake today, correct me if I'm wrong here, but Preston will take the lead of the championship.
No, I think it's still a 30-point gap between. It's something like a 32. It's around that mark. I think I calculated it from last race, and it is going to be around like the 30 mark. If you guys keep talking, I can quickly find out what your current gap is between your two champions.
Preston! Spun straight into a bunch of drivers and AIs. Very unlucky for Preston. A completely broken wing. Not completely, but one side is half broken. He's definitely going to have to go into pits for this. But it's not looking good for anybody. Is Portugal a very bad track for people, or is it just... what is going on?
No, I mean, I've driven Portugal, and especially coming up through sectors 1, going into turns 2, and then especially going into that right-hander, and then going into, so you're going from your right to left onto the back DRS straight. Yeah, that can be a very tricky section to get and nail it properly. Especially through this hill section, you can see Preston going through right now. It's a blind spot, so if there was an accident right on that downslope of this hill, you're not going to see it until the very last second. And yeah, so this track is literally up and down, because it's literally on a hill as well. So yeah, it's quite interesting how this track is made and how it is and how it's laid out as well. So what makes this track unique is that it's very up and down, left, right, and you don't get a chance to breathe. There is no, okay, right, I've got a second to gather where I am at or something like that. It's literally corner after corner, hill after hill, it's literally everywhere. But I calculated your gap, and like you was right, if Charlie was not to finish in the points today, Preston would take the lead of the championship, but only by 3 points.
A lead is a lead, isn't it, Bailey?
I mean, yeah, we was talking earlier about Charlie running away with it, but as we've checked, it's a lot closer than we thought. So maybe if either driver goes on a bad run of form, we could see either Preston or Charlie running away with it a little bit.
I mean, we say that they're running away with it, but Charlie ran away with this for the first half of the season, and now Preston's only come back and started to take down that championship lead bit by bit. And yeah, so it's only now that it's the championship has only started to take a bit more of a hit for Charlie. Charlie is starting to realise that he wasn't that driver at the start where he was constantly winning, constantly putting in the amazing performances. It's now that Preston has sort of made reality a bit more realistic for Charlie and thought, well, you're not running away with this and I'm going to get this back. But as it's towards the end of qualifying now, we're going to try and focus on the last laps for people. So obviously Preston will not be doing that final lap. The two people who still are able to do laps are George and Jamie. Jamie is right behind George, so we're about to see what George and Jamie can do for their final flying laps of this qualifying session. George has put a purple sector 2, gone 6/10 quicker in the second sector. George flying through this right now. He's clearly found his way and found the setup and the right setup for him. What can Jamie do?
Oh!
Jamie seems...
George has spun out.
George has spun it. Oh no, and George has spun, and that was so good for him as well. Oh no, George went purple sector 2. That is very unlucky for George. But it's all eyes on Jamie now. What can Jamie do? He was on the front row at the beginning of this session. So what can he do? He's about to cross the line. Let's see what he can do. And he's weaving, so it doesn't mean he's done anything good. So Jamie will stay P5 for the start of this race.
And that's the end of qualifying, people. We'll be right back with the leaderboard in a second. And here we are for your Portugal qualifying leaderboard. You have Charlie sticking it right on pole position, getting that pole point, which is going to be so crucial. Preston gets that P2, Harry gets that P3, Bradley gets the P4, Jamie with P5, Callum with P6, George at P7. And I believe that's it. No, it shouldn't be. Am I right? Is that it? Yeah, that is it. Yeah, sorry, I'm an idiot. I thought there was more, but I forgot the other two left. That is the end of qualifying, people. We'll see We'll be right back with you in a second for the race. Do not worry, people. Do not be late. Do not miss it. And here we are for the formation up of the Portugal Grand Prix. Hopefully gonna be a good race. It's us three back on commentary, people, with Carl sitting quietly waiting for any incidents to happen. I'm sure he will be coming in useful very soon, because we all know Portugal is a very difficult track to drive on. But what a front row we have. Preston and Charlie. What do you think? It's going to be a battle straight off?
Well, you know, depending on whether those two, well, whether Preston can get a good start and whether Charlie can get a good start, it's down to whoever can get a good start, to be honest with you. I mean, you know, it's all about trying to just nail your start, get on with it, and then worry about the incoming threats from behind. And then, yeah. What do you think, Bailey?
I mean, yeah, anything could happen from the start. I mean, Harry, Bradley, Jamie and Cal and George all behind them in completing the front seven with all our drivers. So anything could happen between them all. But, I mean, definitely a battle between our two championship leaders is a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, don't exclude Harry as well. I mean, he is in the championship and so is Jamie, and they're all in the top 5. So
I will just say, if you don't mind, currently you have most of the guys on medium, but Harry and Callum going on the softs and George going on the hards. George obviously going for longevity. Harry and Callum going for pace. That's going to be an early pit stop. Whose strategy do you think will work out here the best?
Well, Bailey, as you unmute, you can go.
I mean, medium is always the way to go for me. So the two league leaders definitely for me have the strongest strategy. But who knows, if Harry and Cal time it right or George times it right with his hards, anything could come through and work for them.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, George in Spain, I'm pretty sure opted to go on the hards, or at some point during his career in the DFL, or a certain race, I can't remember when, but I do remember George picking the hard towards the start of the race, and it actually did pay off for him. So I have no doubt that George's strategy call is going to be amazing. I mean, everyone's strategy is amazing. We've seen Charlie's in Bahrain, pitted multiple times, went on the hards, pitted again and under the safety car, pitted, and then, for another set. Dan or Bailey, who's the nights out?
Bailey, you can.
Okay. And lights out. No. Lights out, and away we go. Here in Portugal, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, what a great lights out by Bailey. But Preston, what a start. Gets the position straight away.
Yeah, I think I've just seen Jamie been taken out on George's cam, on board. I've just seen Jamie, I think by an AI, might have got taken out and straight into the wall and has probably got damage. Great start from Preston, has already got Charlie right behind him. Gasly's been given a 5-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flag. But here we go. Bradley now looks up down the around the outside actually now, to go around the outside of Charlie, one of the championship leaders. But he'll just hold him off here for a second. But Bradley's got a nice run off down the hill. Can he go down the inside? He'll just sit patiently to wait behind Charlie to make a move. But Harry's now coming up right behind Bradley. So now you've got 3 people challenging for P2 already. And it's not even 3.
Yes, Carl is already jotting down the incidents, and of course, apparently it was quite dangerous defending from Jamie that spun him out. So very interesting. The eyes of Carl coming in very useful then, because we probably wouldn't have seen that, to be fair. But nice catch by Carl there. We'll definitely be looking at that later on, or I'm sure Carl will. Anyway.
And Bradley goes down the inside of Charlie and makes the move into P2. What a send by Bradley, and now up into P2. What a send, just down the inside in turn 1. Charlie saw it coming in and he goes slightly wide, but what a move. And Charlie could do nothing there to defend it. last minute send by Bradley. And now Harry looks to see like he might be going to attack Charlie now for this P3. So Charlie started on pole and has now tumbled down to third as he goes slightly wide there. There's, especially going up through this hill, you have to be really careful on the throttle. But apart from that, if you get your exit right off of this through the section, you could be spot on and have a nice exit.
Unfortunately, Bailey has had to leave us for a bit, but he will be back shortly, I'm sure. But Jamie, right now, the 31-second gap between him and Mick Schumacher, can he build that back up or not, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure if a safety car comes in, it'll play into Jamie's hands beautifully. But apart from that, I don't know what his pace is like. I don't know if he's pitted yet or if he had damage. I'm assuming he did pit because of wing damage.
Well, I'm sure we'll find out later, and we'll find out what Jamie...
Bradley's been spun around. He's spun, and now he's dropping down the timesheets, and as he slightly, almost narrowly misses some of those AIs, he's now dropped down to 12th. The man who made a brilliant send down on the championship.
Oh, God, no!
Oh! And he's now making contact with Valtteri Bottas.
Has that been an unsafe track entry? I mean, I'm pretty sure he did press reset to track, but in pressing reset to track, he's gone straight into the AIs.
Nah, I mean, I did say he was on the throttle and he did try to spin himself around. And so he was literally, oh, and George, he goes wide now and he is gone off wide and now he has actually reset to track. But he drops down to P11 now. What is going on with our drivers at the moment? Jamie down in P19 with Bradley P13 and then George P11, all having incidents of their own and now have dropped down the leaderboard. The people left in the top 5, your Callum, Harry, Charlie and Preston.
I will warn you, you do slightly keep cutting out, Peter, but it's not too bad for now. But yes, it has been an utterly mental race so far, to be fair. Peter, let's just look at it currently. You have Preston getting away from Charlie. Preston is not holding back. He wants to take this championship today. But for that to happen, Charlie needs to DNF. Or end up not in my points. And I don't really think that's going to happen, but there is still a chance, so we'll see what happens. But there's been another thing. Bradley has been sent back down again. P18 now. He's spun out again.
Yeah, I'm very unlucky for Bradley. I think for Bradley, once he makes that first mistake, more mistakes start to come in. And then, yeah, I think that once you make the first mistake, it's like, God. And then keeps making more mistakes after that, and it just ruins this race after that.
It's very, very interesting matters for sure. But apparently, Callum did run wide coming out of the final corner, no time gained. But very, very lucky for there's no time gained. Otherwise, it would be a penalty, I'm sure. If Carl does want to come on voice and mention any of these, he is more than welcome to, but he's also welcome to continue messaging me. He's completely up to him. But what an interesting race it has been so far. Charlie's still not able to catch up to Preston. Harry trying to catch up to Charlie, but it's still not working. Callum falling behind. Everyone is currently separated. There is literally no one with anybody right now. What has happened here? Benny is rejoining us right now. You have missed. Did you see it, Bailey? I don't know whether you're here or not, to be honest.
No, I was not. I was trying to sort out my internet. What has actually happened?
Peter, do you want to run him through it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you was here for it, but Bradley sends a nice dive bomb. I think in like lap 2, lap 3, down into turn 1, down onto Charlie, and then takes P2. And then, it spins out a couple laps later, and now he's made another mistake. I don't know if he was here. Yeah, he was here for the Jamie one. But George goes slightly wide up on the hill section, goes on the grass, and then resets to track, and now it's down in P11.
Very, very interesting.
Apparently, Preston went slightly early on the throttle. Unfortunately, lost about 5/10 of a second. So he'll definitely be looking to gain that back up. But Charlie is really gaining on him, to be honest. Now down to a gap of 1.3 seconds.
Oh, I think George is now, and George has opted to retire now. We do not know why. He might have had an incident. I've just seen that in Alfa Romeo, and I knew instantly that was going to be George. No offence, but yeah, it just happens, and then, yeah, George is now retiring from the race. Whether this causes a safety car or not is a whole different question. I think George is very much off track, so yeah, there will be no safety car needed for this, and the stewards would and the marshals will be able to get his car. But now another person who's gaining on the leader right now is Charlie. He was 9/10 of a second, but he is closing that gap down from 1.3 down to 9/10 now. So it's dipping between a second and then down to 9/10. So Preston seemed to be maybe struggling at the moment with his tyres, maybe even the setup he's got, because he's lost so much time.
And of course, with George unfortunately going out, he will lose out on points on the championship once again. Will that affect his chances in the championship or not? Just very quickly, whilst Charlie's catching up.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if George maybe he's missed too many races, and you know, I think he started off his campaign well, and then has dipped off. So, I mean, I don't know. I think that this might be the road to the end of his championship campaign for this season, and maybe we'll have to rewind himself and go again for season 4 for this championship. But now Charlie quickly has DRS on Preston and is now 5/10 of a second behind Preston.
3 seconds time penalty to Harry. That's going to affect his chances. That's going to affect his chances as well. I can't speak as per usual. But apparently, in the back of my head, Carl's just been magnificent today. Preston is struggling a lot in Sector 2. Charlie around three steps quicker in that sector. But Preston gains back the time elsewhere. So it's really... Preston's really trying to push, but Charlie is just finding that time in the sectors where Preston can't. And now, where Preston had gotten away, that gap, as you say, has really closed down to a 0.4 second gap. Now, for 0.3 second gap, Charlie may be going with DRS. Again, back on this straight. This may be his chance right here. Will he get the DRS? He's using his DRS. He's about to get the DRS. He does. He goes in on the inside of Preston, and he gets that position. Charlie is back up to P1. Will he be able to get away now? Will Preston be able to strike back? I cannot wait to see how this goes. However, just very quickly, Callum does go into pits. I'm not too sure why, but of course those softs will be reaching those limits now. I wonder what tyres he'll be going on. But back to Preston and Charlie. Will Preston be able to strike back or not?
Preston did have the shot there with DRS and just could not make use of it. But he is 5/10 of a second behind Charlie. So where Cole says Charlie's pushing 100% in Sector 2 seems to be no more, because it is still only 5/10 of a second. Now 7, so it jumps from 5 to 7/10 of a second. So Charlie maybe seems to make a bit more use down through that downhill area of the track, and whereas Preston seems to be struggling.
I do have some information for you right here from our good old FIA guy Carl. Apparently the overtake which Charlie did on Preston, all 4 wheels were off the track. It was a post overtake, so it was an illegal overtake. Do we act on that? Do we not? It's down to Carl. Apparently now I'm being corrected.
I do apologise. All 4 wheels went off the track post overtake.
Thank you, Carl.
So the overtake was fine, but literally he went completely off the track, turn 1.
Thank you very much, Carl. I have been corrected. I'm very sorry for feeding you all false information. That's why Carl's here to correct me. And you know, thank you very much, Carl. I really do appreciate it. But can Charlie get away? I mean, he's looking like he is. He's gaining those tenths of a second in most sectors, but Preston is not giving up.
Yeah, Charlie's not been able to break that. Oh, he has now been able to. He just literally ate my words before I even said it. I was about to say that Charlie couldn't break that DRS toe, but now he has got it over a second. So now Preston can no longer make use of that DRS that he once had on Charlie, and now will be more about trying to play this game a bit more tactically with strategy against Charlie, because unless he can somehow start to find more time through sector 2 where Carl says he's losing it all, then Preston will have to find time on the straight and elsewhere on the track where Charlie cannot make use of this track and trying to extract that time from the car.
Yes, and you mentioned about Preston struggling. He is struggling in turn 5 and turns 8. So that's where obviously Charlie is making up that time, getting much faster exits out of those corners, whilst Preston again is struggling. Whether Preston can find a way to get a better exit or not, it's really not showing right now. But Harry does go into the pits. He did have like an 8-second gap he had to build on for him and Preston, but now he's in the pits again. He's going down quite far, as is Callum actually. We haven't mentioned him very much. Down in P14 now, Jamie down in P16, Bradley in P18. What do these guys have to do to catch up?
Well, obviously Charlie just seems to have an edge over his competitors today. Especially, he might have spent a bit more time on his track, maybe understands the track a bit more than others, really. I mean, it all comes down, it's all good you can have a good extent of knowledge of the track, but whether you can use that knowledge and make your way and find ways you can push without actually going off and making mistakes is where you'll have a key advantage over your competitors.
And apparently, Preston did have a rough exit out of turn 5. That's where he lost a whole second. So, Charlie, as you say, probably knows this track a lot better. Probably, knows how to hit those apexes better. Knows where to, all 4 tyres off the track once again in turn 1. Oh, I thought I heard someone about to talk there, but I was wrong. But Charlie keeps going off the track here.
Yeah, maybe this might be Tyler speaking, but it's only a lap 11, and it depends how hard he was pushing as well. Just remember, he did have to pass multiple cars as well, because remember, he did lose 2-3 positions after the start of the race. Obviously, Preston taking the lead, having a great start from Preston at the start and taking the lead. But yeah, obviously this might be Tyler speaking. Maybe he's just having understeer through sections he can't maybe brake at certain point. So, we have to take into fact that he could be having some issues with the car. Or it could be setup wise as well, or maybe the tyres as well. What do you think, Bailey?
I mean, yeah, it could be anything, but he is losing crucial time on Charlie at the top. Every lap, it just seems to be that gap is pushing further and further. Of course, on the same tyres as well. Neither of them pitted as of yet, so Preston wouldn't be able to use that to his advantage either. So he'll need to look to try and change something in these next couple of laps to try and close that gap on the league leader.
I believe, there it is, his third offence, going all 4 wheels off the track again. Of course, the second offence was a 10.5 gained. He's now had a third offence of going off the track. Bailey, again, I'm very sorry to have not brought you up a bit more. Why does he keep going off of that track with all 4 wheels?
I mean, you have as much clue as I do, to be honest. I don't really see a real need to. It's not like he's trying to overtake anyone or push anyone. So it's blasphemous to me. So who knows why? I'm sure we'll be able to find out post-race.
May I just say, I don't actually think he had his all 4 wheels off the track. Actually, I mean, I have been watching Charlie and coming off of turn 1. It did he did have 2 of his sets of wheels on the track as well. So nothing didn't seem to be left. Yeah, nothing seemed to be left the track or nothing. So.
Well, very interesting. We will, while Carl was being me eyes in the skies, and we'll definitely have to talk about it after the race and potentially give out some penalties for it. But
Charlie is in the pits now, so Preston takes this lead of the race.
I'm very sorry to interrupt you, Peter. We've been talking a lot about Preston and Charlie. I get why. They're currently in a battle, but we can't forget about these other drivers. Harry, Jamie, Bradley, Callum. Sorry, I completely lost Callum there, but up to P10. He's just got the overtake. Oh, he's going for the overtake on Lando Norris, but Lando Norris fights back. But Callum is not giving up, and he wants that overtake, and he's got it up to P10. Nice overtake by Callum. We may be seeing a battle between Harry and Callum in a minute. But again, I think I asked this before, but what do we have to see for these guys to catch up to Preston and Charlie? Is there anything they can do?
Maybe their pace isn't as great as what Preston's and Charlie's is, unfortunately. It's as simple as that, to be honest with you. I mean, pace between different drivers will vary. Some people will like this certain tracks compared to everyone else. Everyone will have their strong and weak tracks. So maybe for some of these drivers, this is a weak track for them. And compared to Preston and Charlie, this is maybe one of their strongest tracks, maybe. We see it throughout this season, that pace. You see different people throughout the season with great pace. Jamie, we've seen him, for instance, hungry. He showed a great demonstration of his pace there, especially in Spain as well. So, everyone has their style of tracks that they like and obviously drive a certain way with these cars. Everyone's driving style is different. No one's is going to be the same, obviously. But, yeah, it's as simple as that.
Fair enough. Oh, Bailey, have anything to add?
I mean, I've been watching Callum briefly for the last 4 or 5 laps, just non-stop. Of course, we see him and Harry on fresher tyres, so I'm sure they'll both be able to use that to their advantage. Of course, Harry is on the hards, but he has that time penalty. So I'm sure Callum will look to gain on him as he is at the moment, closing that time penalty, that time gap, sorry. And I'm sure we could see Callum flying up the places even more.
Fair enough. And Harry seems to be about to get an overtake on Alex Albon here to go up to that P8 position. It could be good. He did have DRS a minute ago, but unfortunately it has gone away. Peter, would you like to commentate this overtake if you want to? It's completely up to you.
Yeah, so here we go. Harry is clearly gaining and is the faster car out of the Williams and this Ferrari. Can Harry pull off this overtake? He has seemed to pull this gap ever so slightly. He is inching ever so closely to Albon throughout the lap. Can he maybe make use of the DRS or maybe even find a move throughout these next several corners before they get onto the straight? Obviously, I think Harry will play this tactical game and maybe wait out for the DRS to maybe make a move. But he's so close, he almost touched the rear end of this for Williams. But it's so close between these two. Harry's clearly faster. Who's going to come out on top? Harry's waiting. He's patiently waiting to use this deploy his ERS and DRS. But Albon goes into the pits, so no move is going to be necessary to overtake Albon. But Harry up into P8.
And just very, very quickly, Preston, I saw went into the pits, so Charlie is now 3 seconds ahead. Bailey, can Preston make up this time?
I mean, he definitely can. Sorry, Harry's just spun out slightly, but he's all right. But Preston, I'm sure he will be able to close that gap, and he'll be looking to, on both drivers on the hard course. Charlie pitted 2 laps earlier, so that has closed the gap tremendously. But now Preston will look to try and gain as much time on the race leader as he can.
Very interesting. Yeah. Oh, Peter, go ahead.
Yeah, like I was saying, I mean, I think for now it might be that Preston is going to have to play this tactically now. And as Bradley gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, I think this might be track limits. That's very unfortunate for him, as he's not had a so good race for him at the moment. But yeah, like I was saying, like before he even pitted, and when Charlie passed him the first time around, I said that he would have to play this tactically against Charlie if he couldn't pass him. And once Charlie broke that DRS toe that he had of Preston behind. But yeah, I feel like Preston's going to have to play this very tactically right now with strategy, and they hope that safety car comes out for him to maybe bring this championship fight close.
Fair enough. And Carl actually thinks that or potentially Preston cannot gain on Charlie. If the race was to remain clean and there is not a safety car, Charlie has won this race. Again, there is no need to pit for either of these two. So, what, you know, although Preston's tyres are 2 laps newer, if you get what I mean, Charlie still has no reason to pit, and these are hards. They can last forever. Not forever, but a long time. So, I don't disagree with Cole here. Preston is losing most times on on these turns, on these sectors, unless he finds an absolute way to better his turns, his corners and stuff. He will not gain this time. And as Carl says, Charlie will probably take this win and further his championship chances. Whether that will affect him in the long run, who knows. Whether it will or whether it won't, who knows. But we're just going to take a very quick detour because Harry is back up to P3 due to pits. Callum in P7, but I believe it. No, he's gone into pits as well. Stupid me. Jamie is now going up to P6, P5, P4. Jamie is back up. I wonder why Callum's back into pits.
You might have had to. Let me quickly check this race director and what it says. Oh, if it doesn't kick me out like it just did. Here we go. Pit stops. Let's check what. So Callum's just pitted for another set of mediums or something like that.
Yes. But is there any indication why potentially?
Maybe he's trying to go for a 2-stop, maybe, and just trying to play it long run, maybe.
He's going back, so probably lagged out. I'm not too sure. Very unfortunate. But Bradley, however, seems to be going on the overtake on his teammate Lando Norris, and he gets past. Yes, he does, up to P14 now. Potentially going to catch up to Callum. Could that be a battle? That would be an interesting one, that's for sure. But we're going to go back up a minute. Jamie and Harry, currently P3, P4. Could Jamie catch up?
Yeah, I mean, Jamie definitely could probably catch up to Harry, maybe, depending on what strategy that Jamie is on. Let's quickly check what he is currently... so Jamie is currently on... so he's on mediums to medium. So Jamie now playing a 2-stop then here in today's race. A 2-stop for Jamie is what he's planning to do. So really trying to go for that aggressive run on the other people and maybe try and take a podium position from Harry.
Oh, and I'm very sorry to interrupt you or break away what you say, but Callum is now overtaking Alex Albon. A little bit of contact by Callum on Albon, but he does make it through there. I'm not sure if our FIA picked it up or not, but if he hasn't, I will show Cole later. But that was, I don't know if that's a dangerous move or not, to be honest, on by Callum on Albon, but he does get up to P12 here, so nice one by Callum.
Yeah, well done by Callum. Clearly making his way up now. He is on the mediums. I think he also is going for that 2-stop as well. So on the same strategy as Jamie for today's race. Both trying to go for a aggressive strategy in today's race. But I don't think that Jamie is gaining on Harry at the moment. Obviously, Jamie's mediums are 17 laps old now, whereas Harry's hards are 9 laps old. And the difference between the leader and the Preston's laps are 2 different. So Preston has 2 laps younger tyres, hards, than what Charlie does.
Fair enough. And just to go back onto Preston and Charlie 1 minute. Apparently it is now the 4th turn 1 offence by Charlie for leaving all 4 tyres off the track, if you get what I mean. And apparently Preston also has 2 offences on it. So that turn 1 has been a very dangerous turn, to be fair. I don't know whether it's... What's going on? Why do they keep going off?
I mean, turn 1 is a very difficult corner in Portugal. especially going downhill as well. This is a downhill circuit as well, and especially turn 1, it's such a narrow corner as well to get right as well. You mean if you touch that inside curb into turn 1, it is going to throw you off, and you're maybe going to have a bit of disruption in the in your course of taking that line, and it might throw you a little bit wide. Maybe those drivers need to maybe. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen what they're doing. I don't know how they take their turn 1 approach, but obviously.
Oh, Peter.
Turn 1 is very difficult, and especially going. Yeah.
You cut out for a minute.
Did I?
Yes.
It's fine.
Welcome
sorry,
to technical difficulties of commentating, people. We love it, don't we?
Yeah, I'm sure Charlie can use some of my footage as well, because I'll give him my replay as well. But yeah, going back to it, turn 1 is very difficult, and Portugal is in itself is a difficult track as well. It is it doesn't give you a break, and you have no rest apart from the straights. And especially you got one nice long straight, and then one very short straight. Can't speak once again. This normally happens every time I do commentary.
And here we go, another. Oh, he's staying on track that time. He had 2 tyres on the track, so nice one by Charlie to keep the 2 tyres on the track there. Yes, I don't know what's going on with Charlie, to be honest, but it's something we wouldn't normally notice. So it's good to have Carl being the eyes overhead of these guys, you know, watching them like a hawk, you could say. Obviously, there's quite a gap between Preston and Charlie and Harry right now. So we're gonna take it down a bit. Jamie currently in P12. You have Callum finally back in the points in P10. Bradley in P13. I mean, Jamie was just in the points. Did he pit or something? I don't know.
Yeah, so Jamie is now pitted and he's on hards. So his hards are now 1 lap old.
As we talk about that, he's going for an overtake on Pierre Gasly, and he makes it past. Brilliant overtake by Jamie right there, keeping all 4 tyres on the track, showing it can actually be done. Nice overtake there by Jamie. Now...
Good. I was just saying a good overtake by Jamie. I think you was about to say, but he obviously is now on to... Callum as his next target to maybe get past to get into the points now.
What I was gonna say is Bradley and Callum. Oh no, Bradley spun,
and that is not good from Bradley. Once again, making another mistake, and he's too eager to get on that throttle right now. And obviously, once you're on the grass with the and Bradley is now been disqualified from the race for going the wrong way.
A very unlucky time for Bradley, that is for sure. But we're too far in, unfortunately. We are not restarting. That is a rule, and I'm sure Carl will enforce it when it comes into it, and I especially will. We now go back up to Callum, who is looking for an overtake on Valtteri Bottas, the other Alfa Romeo that is currently in the race, and Callum makes it past Bottas right now to get that P9 position. A little bit of a laggy AI, but that does not matter. He gets past the Alfa Romeo of Valtteri Bottas.
Wait, something happened to Charlie, because Charlie has lost a chunk of time to Preston right now. The gap was 3.3 and now it's down to 2.5.
I did see for Preston got the fastest lap, so I believe Preston is really going for it.
Yeah, clearly Preston is now starting to understand the track a little bit more, seeing where he can push now, and that gap where it was 3.3 is now down to 2.2, and this is very good, and this is what Preston needs now to start putting in these laps to now try and catch Charlie.
What actually happened? A nice one by Carl coming in. Apparently it's a minor front wing damage from Charlie, so of course that will affect his time, bring it down, so Preston has an opening now to catch up. Who knows whether it will actually affect his lap time or not. But now, if we I don't know if any of you have seen the group chat.
Preston spun, and he's off on the grass.
Oh no! That's completely affected his chances and probably given Charlie the win, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, we're still basically 10 laps out now until the race ends. So anything is still possible, and something is still possible. Anything can happen to Charlie still. Yeah, very unlucky from Preston. I was on Charlie there for a second, and I saw a Haas go off track, and then I instantly knew that corner there where Preston made his mistake, it's a very common place to spin out very easily and to get on the throttle too easily, and you can just lose your rear end, and then that's it. You destroy your race by that.
There's currently Bradley saying about the lag from the AI, and I don't think it's been as bad as he claimed, to be honest. I've told him there's lag, but it's not as bad. It might just be his Wi-Fi, who knows, but I don't even know how we can sort it out, to be honest. I don't think it's even our fault, but it is what it is. But we carry on here. Carl is now typing, so I'll let you know what he thinks in a second. But now Preston is going past the Mercedes of, I believe, Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, so he's gone past Lewis Hamilton because obviously blue flag's being waved. Jamie right now, he is looking to get on the back of his teammate Sergio Perez. Obviously, Sergio Perez is right behind Callum, and then Callum is right behind Carlos Sainz. So Carlos Sainz starting to create a train. Can Callum get past and maybe start to bridge a gap between him and Carlos Sainz to then go and catch 6th place? He is so close for this section. He is going to have DRS. He's so close, almost touches the rear end there of Carlos Sainz, but Carlos Sainz is a little bit too far ahead, but it doesn't matter because he goes down the inside of Carlos Sainz and makes it work. But Carlos Sainz turns in the side of Callum and makes contact with him. So Carlos Sainz, not happy with that. And he's gone slightly off track there to make that overtake work. Almost been an illegal overtake. I'm sure Carl will decide if that was illegal or not. But Jamie now, he's sat behind this carnage right now. His teammate Sergio Perez trying to make us down the inside of Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz has now lost once again another position and lost another position to Jamie, but he's fighting Jamie for this position. Tooth for nail, but it doesn't matter because Jamie is now past Carlos Sainz and now is right behind his teammate Sergio Perez.
Yes, and I'm sure he will be going for the overtake any minute now. He is really close with a 0.2 second gap. He may be getting that DRS. He has that DRS. He's going for it. No ERS, unfortunately, but that does not matter because he has made it past Sergio Perez. And Jamie claims that P8 spot. Nicely done by Jamie to claim that P8 spot. Perez does drop down a bit, but we could be seeing Jamie versus Callum now any minute. Who knows for sure?
Yeah, Jamie will have to take down that gap of a 2.5 second gap between those two to maybe claim 7th place. But maybe that it is still 5.1 seconds to Fernando Alonso in 6th place. So maybe is this the end for Callum and going any further with these points? I think that is Preston. Oh, and Preston has been retired from the race. And he's been crashed out, and now that is not good, and it is a safety car, ladies and gentlemen. Preston out of this race, and now this means Harry moves up into P2, and it resets the clocks, and this will give Charlie a free pit stop to go on the softs or mediums, depending on what he's opts to do, because his next competitor now is Harry. And just remember, Harry and Charlie have collided before in previous races, but don't exclude Harry from this race win. This has reset the clocks, and now this has completely changed the whole race. And oh my God, that is very, very, very unlucky for the man chasing down Charlie for a second world championship to put under his collection.
But that does mean, as you say, Preston will be getting no points if Charlie wins, which is looking very likely unless Harry can get a brilliant getaway on Charlie. Charlie will get another 25 points ahead of Preston, creating a bigger, unluckier gap for Preston. I'm sure Preston might be able to come back and get it, but it's just a matter of how and when.
Yeah, so like I thought, Charlie is opting to go on the softs and is now on the softs. Yeah, so this is not good for Preston. He was very, very unlucky for this to happen to him, and I feel so, so bad because he has made a few mistakes during this race, but I don't think whatever happened, I'm sure I think he must have collided with Lewis Hamilton. But also, going back to the race, Harry is getting a free pit stop out of this, so he will have a cheeky pit stop out of this as well. And we'll move on to the mediums, which is an interesting choice. So maybe Harry doesn't have any new softs to use up, and this is all he's got, and maybe it's the last shot of it. Harry does move down into P4, so where I thought he had that free pit stop, has moved down into P4. So Harry will have to really work for it here. I thought Harry was just going to be stuck in P2 and really right behind Charlie. So Charlie might have a free run at getting a nice clear exit off, well, after the restart.
And yes, it really is down to Charlie right now. But as you say, he has got no contenders round him. Harry in P4 with a 3-second time penalty. Even if Harry somehow, someway finds a way to get up and ahead of Charlie, Charlie just has to stick within 3 seconds of him. Literally, Charlie can
is retired as well.
Charlie can do exactly what, and I'm going to reference this, and Carl's going to love it. Harry and Carl did back in season 2 of in Jeddah on Preston, when Preston had a 3-second time penalty. All Harry and Carl did was stay behind him within those 3 seconds, and they got P1 and P2, and Preston dropped down to P3.
Yeah, very unlucky for that to even happen. But Harry will have to forget about this penalty he's got at the moment, and will have to really focus on and get past past Charlie to maybe hope to get a win. Like he's still yet to do yet. He has not achieved a win yet. So I think by now Harry would have probably won a race right now. Well, by now I'm assuming. This was last year.
Yeah, sadly it isn't last year, and we're in this season right here, so it's all to play for Harry, isn't it, really?
Yeah, exactly. I'm still surprised though he went on the mediums though and not the softs. I think the softs would have been a better option, but you know, I think Harry knows best, and you know, he knows what he's doing, so we'll let him be with his strategy. So it's just what I would have done. I would have just gone on the quickest compound, and yeah, but it is what it is. But Callum also pitted as well, as now on the softs and down in P13. So he will have to start to once again make up the positions he's lost, and we'll have to regain them all again. But Jamie now up into P6. Didn't have a good start of the race, is now got back up into the top 10 and is now back and fighting for and contending for points.
And he will not let this get away. He will want those points, and I'm sure he will battle all he can for it. But I cannot wait for this safety car to go in. It's going to be a very interesting challenge for Charlie, whether he can stay on top or not, whether he can get a good chance to get away or not. He needs all the points he can get to keep this championship in his hands. So it's definitely going to be an interesting one. But we are on the 29th lap now. If the safety car goes in this lap, it will be the 30th lap we start on, with about, I'd say, 4 laps left to go, because obviously you have the last lap as well.
Yeah, so you've still got like 4 laps to go in this race. So I think that is every lap towards the end is going to play crucial for this championship, and especially for Charlie. And if he can hold Harry back, and even if Harry can get past, my bad there. If Harry can get past these two, Tsunoda and Vettel, then it will be all to play for between those two for the win. Obviously, Charlie can push all the way to the end now on these softs with no limitations, or without having to worry about, I need to time management. It is all push for Charlie, and Harry will have to push all out as well, and we'll have to go all out and put everything into one bank to maybe nail and secure a first win of the season, and maybe even to secure a podium as well. This is still got he can still grab podiums, and maybe even Jamie can probably get a cheeky podium if he can clear some of these AIs as well.
I definitely think a podium for Harry and Jamie will be crucial to catch up to Preston, because of course that's who they need to catch up to before they can catch up to Charlie. But with the safety car going in, I'm just going to very quickly say this. Sorry, I can't speak. A lot of the guys are acknowledging how tough Turn 1 is for track limits. And of course, Carl was noticing it the whole time. With the guys acknowledging it and knowing it, well, it doesn't change anything, does it? Although they know it's there, they should still be careful.
Yeah, I mean, we're about to go lights out now. And I think Charlie's about to get, and Harry gets an amazing start off. He's about to clear Sebastian Vettel. He's about to get into the back of Yuki Tsunoda. Can he get past Yuki Tsunoda into turn 1? Oh, he looked down the inside there, almost ate too much. He couldn't, he didn't crash into Tsunoda there, so he's all good. So he's just trying to focus to get past Tsunoda now. Charlie have an amazing restart, like I thought he would, and now it's all eyes ahead to the checkered flag for him now. It's all about just focusing every lap to the very end.
Yes, and whilst we were talking about Harry, Jamie managed to get an overtake on the other Alpine, Fernando Alonso, affecting Alpine's chances in the constructors, but they're pretty much running away with it for now, so I don't think it'll affect it too badly, to be fair. Now Callum down all the way in P15, now up to P14. What happened? He was P12 a minute ago. He has gone down quite a bit here.
Yeah, I mean... Sorry, who are we talking about again?
Callum.
Yeah, so Callum, he has actually dropped a couple of positions then. My bad there. That's my bad for not paying attention. But yeah, Callum has dropped a little couple, I think 1 or 2 positions, because I think he was in P13 right here. Obviously, it's not what he would wanted. And
I am so sorry to interrupt, but Harry's going for P2 and he's got it. Jamie also up to P4, but Harry gets our position on Yuki Tsunoda. He is up to P2 now, with only a 2.8 second gap between him and Charlie. Jamie will be gunning for that P3 position. You called it right. I do believe it will be a podium of Charlie, Harry and Jamie here. Lando Norris unfortunately spinning out, as I can see in sector 1. Very unfortunate.
Jamie tries to go down the inside of Yuki Tsunoda, and he's made it work down into the hairpin, and now he's got still going wheel to wheel with him. Obviously Tsunoda, when Tsunoda bashing wheels with Jamie there. Very unlucky there for Jamie, for Tsunoda to turn in on him like that. Obviously Tsunoda clearly not happy with that. He's just got overtaken by Jamie, but Jamie will still fight tooth and nail for this podium. He's not given up. He's still within a second of, well, yes, he's still 4/10 of a second behind Tsunoda, so he hasn't lost a lot of time, but he has lost a bit of time though, because he was in front and then Tsunoda just turns in on him, and then obviously Jamie has to sort of turn in on the left, and obviously didn't have much room on the left. But also Charlie is walking away with the lead once again. Obviously on those softs are playing crucial to the end, and like I said, he can just lean on those tires to the very end and not have any effect of him. But DRS has been enabled this lap. Can Jamie, he looks down, go down into turn 1. He's probably going to patiently wait for this move to be done until the next DRS straight. He's using up. Oh, he goes down the inside of Yuki Tsunoda once again. But Tsunoda,
no!
But Tsunoda is not happy once again with that move. And Harry, not Harry, but Jamie's down into P5, and that is very, very, very unlucky for the man trying to get that P3 podium. And Yuki Tsunoda playing out to be aggressive and not happy with that. And now Jamie will not be happy with that either.
But whose fault was that? Because Jamie made the move, obviously didn't clear Tsunoda very well, tried to keep overtaking him, and Tsunoda kept battling away. Unfortunately, Jamie did go off track limits once again there. But yes, Jamie could not escape Tsunoda. Whose fault was that?
I mean, I think it was definitely Tsunoda's. I mean, he had the move down the inside, and then Tsunoda was literally turning in on him when he was trying to go right, and so obviously Sonoda obviously took him out as well. So I think it was Sonoda's fault. But yeah, I'm sure Jamie will still climb back up and maybe try to get that P4 off of Fernando Alonso. Callum now, we haven't spoken about him, but he's now up into P8. He's about to make that P7 slot, trying to take it off Valtteri Bottas, going down the main straight. They're going wheel to wheel. Obviously, Callum has DRS, but Valtteri Bottas has that better straight line speed than he does. But it goes into turn 1 around the outside and makes the move. Slightly goes off track there, but now goes down the inside of Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz is now the next victim. So has taken him 2 corners, and it's amazing stuff from Callum on those stuff. And now his next person is Jamie in front, and he literally has to take 1.7 seconds out of Jamie to maybe get this P5. But obviously Jamie is still gaining Fernando Alonso, and it is 0.6 of a second behind Fernando Alonso. Can Fernando Alonso hold on to this P4? Will Jamie take this P4? No, it's only a few corners time that will tell us. But you doing the winner?
Yes, I will. And I just want to quickly mention Harry's penalty will not matter because he has a 6-second gap that he has cleared with Sebastian Vettel. But Charlie goes round the final corner, and here is your winner for Portugal Grand Prix, once again taking another win within the DFL Championship, extending his lead within the Championship with another 27 points, because at fastest lap and pole position, Charlie takes another win, followed by Harry for P2. Sebastian Vettel follows that with a podium, and we're about to see the driver of the day now. Of course, there's Sebastian Vettel, because unfortunately I didn't swap in time, but yes, driver of the day goes to Calvin Man. Of course, Callum did excellent today. What a great move, and we're about to go to the podium, people. And here we go with the podium. Once again, Charlie walking out for wins. I mean, we haven't seen in a while. I believe his only 4th win within the championship. So once again, trying to catch up to Preston, almost wins, but taking another 27 points. So all the points are crucial. Harry gets those 18 points. He is catching up to Preston. He is not that far behind. Jamie did get a few points as well. But what a race today, people. We really did enjoy it. There was a lot going on. Unfortunately, Preston DNFing, but that will help Charlie within the championship and everyone else. I believe it's a 4-way now for George. He's kind of dropped out, but do not discount George just yet.
Here's your leaderboard for today. Obviously, Charlie with that P1, Harry P2, Jamie P5, Callum P6, and obviously George, Preston and Bradley all DNFing during that race. And that is your leaderboard for today.
Guys, we will see you next time for whatever Grand Prix is next, as I, as usual, can't remember. This is once again been us DFL League. We'll see you next time, people. Do not miss it. Do not be late. See you guys.